We're here at NAMM 2019 at the Leapwing audio booth, and we're here with Maor Appelbaum. He's a mastering engineer here in LA. He's amazing credits, Fate No More, yes. He's done some amazing work, and he's here to talk to us today. So if there are any questions from the public, if you want to ask something, just come over and just ask and we can talk. And I'll maybe start with a question. In using our plugins, because you've been very nice trying out our plugins and giving us feedback, so very much appreciated. Let's say the One, when in your mastering process, in what kind of stage would you say you would grab, let's say, a Dyne One? Like, do you have, like, if I'm looking for that, then I would go for it? Is it something?
You know, it's kind of hard for me to say specifically because sometimes a certain way of working with a plugin actually opens up other opportunities. The plugins, you know, any one of the ones that you do, they're very powerful. You know, and powerful plugins, with power comes responsibility. And I like to work with powerful plugins in very small increments. There are times where I'll pick a plugin that is considered good for one thing, actually for a different thing. For example, a lot of people use wideners to widen, right? But you can use a widener not to widen, to do the opposite. You know, for example, I had a record that was too wide to a point where you just don't enjoy listening because it's like here and here. It's like, okay, what's happening here? And I was remastering it. So the problem is you want to remaster something that's already, you know, if it was low in level or high in level, you could work that out, you know. There are problems if it's too loud, you know. If it's too low, you can raise it up. The problem with too wide is when you try to put that in, the perspective is lost. It's like, it was very wide from the beginning, what's happening now? You gotta be very careful. So, same thing with compression, you know, multiband, you know, I think people jump into a powerful tool immediately. It's cool because it gives you a lot of power, but sometimes they come back saying, "Oh, it doesn't sound right." It doesn't sound right because it wasn't the tool needed at that moment. So, you know, think twice. You know, when you made the Dyne One, what was your perspective, for example? Like, why?
Well, I was trying to put together, because obviously I'd used mastering equipment before, like a TC6000, and I'd always found that to get the job done, I needed a lot of very expensive, high-quality tools to get to something where I didn't have like phase problems, especially with multiband compression. That was like my biggest problem when I was trying it out. So just trying to come up with a way, can we do crossovers that sound natural, that doesn't cause phase issues. So I think like trying to come up with a new way of doing things that doesn't really distort, so it's in the most transparent way possible, but still give enough flexibility that I could do whatever I was trying to achieve.
See, you took it from a solution way. Like, for years I've used this scenario, remedy for a scenario, but I had to deal with the artifacts. So you came up with an idea. In my case, a lot of times a multiband is not to fix a problem, because a lot of times that problem, if I fix it, creates a different problem, which you already know that can happen. So I revert to multibands first of all if I need a shaping, because that's the easiest thing a multiband will do. You know, it's easier than fixing with a multiband. And then if I do feel like a multiband is what I need to fix, then I look at it totally different. Then I'm like, okay, let's try to only target an area. But the first thing, if you put a multiband, it doesn't do that. Automatically, it's like, hey guys, I just changed the sound. So, in your perspective of making is creating a solution to certain problems that occurred in the process of using that. For me, it's a last resort if I want to fix something, knowing that my tone might change. That's where it's sensitive. I even have analog multiband compressors too, but they also have their pros and cons. So so a dying one is like, it's like I got into a problem and I don't know how to get out of it. Well, that's one of the solutions. You know what I mean? But when people ask me about those things, I have to stress out a bit more about the reasoning behind, because I think once you explain something in a very brief way and not the reasoning, then people jump on it like it's the next thing that they need to do. Then they're surprised that they're having a really good plugin not get the results they want. It's not because of the plugin, it's because the reasoning behind using it was wrong. So, that, I hope that answered the question. It's like, yeah, that's a tool that is for that use. And in a lot of cases, I would actually call a person and say, hey, you have a problem with your low end, I recommend fixing the bass guitar instead of me trying to shape it, because if I shape it, I'm shaping your kick as well, and your synth bass, and your other elements in the low end, even guitars will be affected, So that's kind of for the dying one. The same idea would be for the center, It's like when you really want to do that tweak, and again, we're looking at small increments. If we're going big increments, probably need to think of it in a different way. Well, yeah, I have a question for you. What other questions do you have for me?
All right. We have a question from the audience. So.
This question comes from the fact that I don't really have mastering experience. I can see a lot of use cases for myself while mixing for stage one, but I'm quite curious how you would use stage one in the mastering process.
Again, this goes down to I look at plugins like actual gear, not because they sound like, but I look at it as a tool and a reason behind me using the tool. These type of plugins, it sounds bad, but it's not bad, they're intrusive, which means every small move can do a big change, okay? Which I hope you agree with me. Right? So, the way I would use that is very little. It's not like if I need to move a knob, I'm thinking twice. I call my wife, it's like, hey, are you okay with me doing this? No, just joking. I mean, I'll really move in small increments because that small thing will fix what I need. But if I move just above, then I move from fixing to damaging. And it's not because the plugin is not good. Totally not. It's the opposite. It's if, let's say I give you a Ferrari. Have you ever driven a Ferrari? A Mercedes? A BMW?
I've been in one. I don't even have my
license.
license.
You've been in one. That's a good start. And now I tell you, here's the key. Start driving. It will take you a few minutes to get acquainted with it, and then you'll know that if you push just a bit, you're there. But you want to benefit from it, right? So you'll find the sweet spot. This is where I can work with it. And you'll enjoy the ride. You know what I mean? But if I give it to somebody who doesn't know how to drive it, the first thing is you'll do this. You understand? So any of these plugins, and I hope you understand this is not a bad thing. Okay? Give me $50. I'll say something good. Like I said, these plugins are super powerful. So it's not like I'm gonna be like, hey, what day is today? Monday. Monday is Dyne One. You know, Tuesday, Said One. You know, so no, you use them when you need them, and you never know when you need them till you come across a situation where, like, for example, in center one, you know, mix is too wide, or the mix is too, like, let's say, sometimes what happens in a room, you work in a room, and you think it's wide because the speakers are placed, and you're panning stuff, and guess what? You thought your guitar was here, it's here. Then you go and do that. Now, you don't have to do that, like if you're a mixing guy, you can take your guitar bus and put it on the guitar bus and widen your guitars. You don't have to put it on the mix bus. Okay? Same thing with synthesizers. Give you another example, vocals. Dyne One can do wonders for vocals. You know, fix a lot of issues. But if you do put stuff on a master bus, you're very careful. And it does the job. What's needed.
So basically what you're saying is once you get into the mastering phase, the last stage, where you're affecting everything, you're careful that whatever you're fixing is not hurting anything else. So that, yeah, you think twice. Yeah.
It's always tilt. Go overboard.
All right, perfect. Awesome. Any more questions? Now you want to drive a BMW. Perfect. All right. Huh? Yeah, I'll take the Ferrari. No, awesome. Well, I would like to thank you for coming, for taking the time. No. You wanna? No, it's nice. It's nice that it's not too long. Stay to the point. Perfect.
I just want to say, keep doing these great stuff because, you know, technology now, for a while technology was half friend, half enemy. And I think now technology is getting to that point where that enemy is like, it's a friend. And we have more power in our hand. And it's accessible and it's easy to deliver it. So it's just about doing it more and more. And you guys are making amazing stuff. I'm proud to be one of the names. I mean, other guys are great. I've been following them.
Awesome, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.